tell you about Patty's pastries. Baby, let me tell you about Patty's pastries.
What up, y'all? Welcome to In a Pinch with Patty, featuring Quis.
Hey.
Y'all, I hope y'all tuned into the last episode where y'all got to know us a little bit more. This week, episode 2 is like really episode 1, but it's episode 2. And my plan for this specific, I guess, like season it's gonna be doing the alphabet. So we're just gonna go down the alphabet, pick out a topic that starts with like, in order. So A, what better topic to talk about than anxiety?
Anxiety.
For real, guys. So just gonna put this out there. If you haven't made it to a therapist, if you can't make it to a therapist, if you don't know, I will tell you I go to therapy every week. So yesterday, I was in therapy and I was talking to my therapist, and she says, I think that this is a great idea, so I'm going to give you some topics that you can speak to your podcast about as well. So that's what we're going to do, guys. I don't know about y'all, but I suffer with anxiety. I suffer with depression. Like, it's real. I don't use that term lightly. And that's one of the things that we're going to talk about as far as, like, is what you're classifying anxiety really anxiety? Or is it just a different emotion that you, like,
Find hard to deal with?
Right. And could be in denial about. So, this is going to be a real episode, but we'll just dig right into it. And I just have notes, so if I take a pause or two, bear with me because my handwriting is crazy. The first thing I've got here is, how do you know when anxiety shows up? Now, I think the people that really deal with anxiety are going to know exactly the answer right away. Because I know when anxiety shows up when, like, I automatically, like, I feel it. Like, physically feel it. Like, whether it's me not wanting to look at people, whether it's me, staying to the side or, like, in my corner. Sometimes anxiety shows up, like, you can have aggressive anxiety as well. Like, you could be around a person that you're very familiar with, and then something pops off, and that shit makes you anxious. Like, people deal with anxiety, like, different ways. So, for me, like, again, when anxiety shows up, I immediately, like, I feel like my body, like, clench up.
Okay.
And, like, I'm very standoffish. Like, I kind of, like, peep the scene. And until I'm either A, made comfortable, or B, vacate the premises, like, that's when, like, I, again, physically feel myself be like, okay, we're cool here. So, like, how do you feel? Like, how do you know? Do you suffer with anxiety?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I suffer with anxiety, social anxiety to be exact. How I feel, and I know what's going on. My palms will get like crazy sweaty, and I'll start to feel like everybody's staring at me, and like my body just feels like it feels like I'm like locking up, and like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I'm standing out like crazy, and I just look weird as fuck for I don't know what it is. I feel like it's possibly just like a mental thing that I could be doing to myself, because I haven't gone to like a therapist or a doctor, sadly, to, diagnose these things. But possibly, I mean, maybe it is anxiety. Maybe it's not. Maybe I just be wilding out when I go out.
I mean, I suffer with social anxiety, and I can tell you straight up, like, I think the biggest thing with me and social anxiety is just A, totally being uncomfortable, and B, like, I feel like all eyes are on me.
Yes.
Like, I could be
Everybody.
at brunch with like 300 people there, music vibing, alcohol going, and I could be sitting to the table on myself talking to my friends, and I just automatically feel like people are looking at me like, and
Getting
it's like,
hot, like shit just feel like I'm standing out in front of everybody. Like I don't know what it is. That's a crazy feeling. And it's crazy to explain. I've really never talked to nobody about it. To be here and see where somebody else is coming from, how they feel when they go out is really awesome. So
That's not an everybody thing.
I mean, it might be. No, I don't think everybody, because I have some friends that are like totally like,
I don't care. Like it
Yeah.
That's me.
is.
Like I like people watch it or not. I don't care. But like everybody don't feel like people are watching them. No.
I mean,
When
I
they're
don't
walking through
know.
stuff?
I don't think everybody. So maybe so.
I'm
but
gonna
I
go
don't-
find out. I'm gonna start asking people after it's over. So this is
Yeah,
a group
let
chat.
us-
Like,
let
when you
us
walking
know.
through somewhere, do you feel like everyone's watching you, or you just kind of just like, well, whatever?
Yeah, I definitely feel like there's some people that like just like to be on the low. I mean, myself specifically, if I didn't have like social anxiety, I'm still like a very. If I'm going to the mall or whatever, I'm in and out. Let me go do what I gotta do. I'm not get ready to walk around and be like, oh, let's see who's out.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm like, oh, like I don't have time for that.
You put your headphones in when you go out grocery shopping?
So yes,
I don't.
for two reasons. So I do for two reasons. One, I'm a woman. So like, if you have headphones in, like, if I'm going somewhere that I know I'm gonna be there for a while, then I call like one of my friends because I don't want to be harassed. And it's crazy. It's like the worst days when you're like bumming it out, just trying to go to
Yeah.
Publix and get a sub, and they're like, hey,
Facts. I don't wear headphones.
know.
I'm blind, so I need all my senses at all times. So that's why I don't put my headphones in. I might put one in. I used to, but like I need that ear, so I need to hear what's going on.
yeah, no, that's definitely understandable. But that's one reason I put my headphones in, and then the other reason is just like, if I have music or something in my ear, then I can like really concentrate more so on like what the music is and how that makes
And
me
then you
feel
don't-
versus
Everybody's paying attention to you, all that.
right.
So does that help you cope with it? Like you feel like better
you
with
feel
headphones on? You ain't worried about
for
everything?
Sure. Like if I have to hop in an Uber somewhere, if I have to go grocery shopping, like normally I have my stuff delivered again because of social
It's not
anxiety.
normal people stuff. Y'all make me feel like I have anxiety.
I mean, you might. I mean,
But actually, no, I'm just a big music head, so I listen to music a lot. So I'm gonna just go with that one. Yeah, but yeah.
I think it just, again, it depends on the person. But personally, like, I definitely put headphones in to, like, help with, and it depends on the situation. Like, I'm not one of those people, like, if I go out with my friends, like, my AirPods are, like, in the case. Like, I'm all about,
Yeah.
like, chilling with my friends, focusing on what we got going on. But, like, yeah, if I'm by myself, going to the post office or wherever else, yeah, headphones. So let's see, what else do we have here? So these are some questions we'll throw out, like in regards to like helping with anxiety and helping like deal with anxiety and what may, the lack of these things, what may, be a cause for your anxiety. The first question is, do you have a routine? Me personally, I definitely have a routine. Like, I'm OCD. So, like, when I get up in the morning, like, you know what I mean? I let my dog out. I do what I gotta do. Like, essentially, I get up, I post my stuff, I cook what I gotta do, I go to the post office. So, yes, I have a routine. And I feel like when I step out of that routine, like, that's when shit gets hectic. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm used to being up very early in the morning. So, like, the days that I sleep in till like, 10:30, it's like I get up and I'm just like lagging for the rest of the day.
Yeah, because your routine not the same. I feel the same. Like, actually, I do have a routine. I'll wake up, brush my teeth, shower, shave, do all that stuff, and then load up the laptop, get my phone right, start posting things, start sending out emails, get my packages and stuff ready for the day. Get all the labels and everything printed, hit the post office. If I've got anything sourced that I need to go check out, I try to hit that up before I come back home. But get back home, try to create some stuff, and that'll pretty much be the rest of my day until I start cooking, and that's when things start to slow down.
Right.
My anxiety really kick in like when when I got stuff planned and I gotta stop what I'm doing to do something for somebody else, or just something else comes up. That kind of like, I feel like that's when stuff really kick up. That's when I like, my blood start rushing, and like, I don't know, like I ain't gonna say I get mad, but I am not who I am normally, for real. And it's crazy because I'm so chill, I'm so calm all day long, like don't nothing mess with me. But like when something mess up, like when I really got something planned, like when this is it, I'm going home, I want to make this tray, do this, but I got something else just come up that I can't control. That shit just like, it really mess with me, and that's
yeah,
when it kick in.
Same. I can totally relate, because there's days when it's like very lax where I can just post and I might get like some online orders, but like locally, like I'll see who I see, and that's that. But then there's some days, like, you know, I may have done a promotion, or I may be doing like a sale, and like I get those back to back to back to back, and I'm just in the kitchen, I'm like, oh my god, Chair, like, just and like you get snappy, like how you're not the person who you normally are. Same, like I'm normally like cool, calm, and collect for the most part, but like I'll be, you know, in the kitchen trying to stir something, wrap something, package something. Then my phone rings. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And my friends are like, are you good? I'm like, not really. I'll call you back. Like, I got a lot going on. Like, that's my answer. Like, I got a lot going on. So, like, yeah, I definitely feel like by having a routine, that kind of helps you. Like, it's stability. You know what I'm saying? And it just, like, it evens out like your day when you know, like, you get up and this is what you're, you know, supposed to do.
Facts. Not every single day. We got days where, you know, you don't want to follow the same routine.
Oh, for sure.
But that's them days,
and that's okay too.
That's the mental health days right there.
Yeah, where you just do nothing. I love those days. The older I get, the more days that I have like that.
Go with the flow. Want to do something random. Those be some days that get you out your regular. Remind you that you got a lot going on.
Right. All right, here's another one. When you're anxious, like, does that cause you to like dress different, or like change your appearance up?
You talking about like putting a hoodie on and type stuff, like hiding?
Could be. I mean, that's a good one. I didn't even think about when she posed that question to me. I was like, I felt like that may have been like more of like a female's, like, but I didn't even think about like putting a hoodie on, or like shades, or a hat. Like when you're anxious, like, do you guys like tend to do stuff like that?
When I'm anxious and I feel like I don't want to feel, I don't know how to explain it, but like I throw on some nice clothes and I'll get right, shave up a little bit, and that kind of helps when I go out, because if you're gonna stare at me, I'm gonna give you something nice to stare at. So
say word.
But pretty much like, yeah, like when I'm going through stuff, like sometimes I'll just be like, I don't care, and I'll really go out extra bumming it. Like I don't care what the socks is matching with the slides, and it's just like, but those be the days where I just really don't give a fuck about nothing. So like those days help with my anxiety, I feel like, because I feel like if you gonna stare at me, or I'm gonna feel this way out in public, I'm gonna make sure that I feel as comfortable as I want to feel, even though I know I'm gonna go through this. So like being in public places with bunches and bunches of people, like you gonna get stared at. So it's kind of like at that point in time, like I don't care, like it is what it is. So like that's when I try to catch myself breathing, because like I feel like when my anxiety kick in, I just like I don't be breathing right, and I feel like I don't be breathing out my mouth. I just be breathing out my nose, and it's just like, oh, I know I'm tripping right now because I ain't open my mouth to breathe, and I feel like I didn't. So I catch myself like, all right, bro, just take some deep ass breaths, chill out, get it together. You good.
Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't.
Facts.
It's definitely, I think there's levels to. Like, for example, I like going to church. I was raised in church, but like one of the main reasons I don't go to church now is just because like churches aren't like small anymore. Like all churches are like huge, and if they're not huge, they have a lot of people there anyway. So like you're already like walking into a big group of people, and then on top of that, like I'm tattooed up with like blue, purple, and green hair, so I automatically have like arrows on my back. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely feel like. But I would be more comfortable like going into a church than I would be, you know, going into a Walmart that's packed on, you know, Christmas Eve.
Got
so
you.
I do think there's different levels to anxiety. Now this is the good one though. And this was like the one that she really posed to me was there are different words that people like fail to use before they just automatically say like, oh, you know, this is giving me anxiety. So like we'll go through like a few of those words and like I'll discuss or like give my opinions on some.
Alright.
So the first word was like concern, which I can definitely feel how like concern can be confused for like being concerned for somebody or concerned for a situation could possibly be, you know, different from being anxious or having anxiety. I think if anything, like concerns like low level, like it ties in with like being, you know, maybe like uneasy.
It could be concern for a situation too. Like
That's what came to my head.
something like, let's say a fire or something. I don't know why I say fire, but my concern for just it happening can give me what I think was anxiety.
Think is anxiety when
But
it's
it
really just you being concerned for
the
you know the
situation.
people or the situation
Yeah.
for
Facts.
sure. Another one is apprehensive. I can 100% agree with why somebody would, you know, maybe like get that what's the word, misconstrue being anxious instead of being apprehensive, because being apprehensive is another like real thing. It's just nervous, like, you know, fidgety, like, so yeah. Now this is one, worried. Like worry, I'm a worry wart. Like I'm constantly, I get that shit from my grandfather. Like I worry all the time, and that's something that like, you know, my therapist has pointed out. Well, like that's not anxiety. That's like you worrying about something. And I'm like, oh yeah, that like I guess that would be. She was like, now too much of that can cause, you know, that can lead into anxiety.
Okay,
but
that's what I was
just
about to ask.
yeah, but like just like initial, yeah, you could have situations, you know, my check was short this week. Am I gonna be able to like pay my bills?
Facts.
Like that's like initially that's just worry.
Worry,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? Now if you dwell on that and worry and worry and worry and worry and worry, then yeah, of course you're gonna work yourself up into being anxious and, you know, dealing with that. Another one, being afraid or being terrified of something. Like, you know, if you if you can't swim and something happens, like you're gonna be afraid and terrified of like drowning. That's not gonna be like you suffering from anxiety, or like that's probably like a bad example.
No, because you can be afraid of water just because you have almost drowned. So
Yeah,
now
but
you
that
like-
doesn't mean you have anxiety.
Yeah.
That just means like you're terrified of like, you know, having a situation with water, like you said, with water. Another big one, being timid or being shy. Contrary to popular belief, I am very like timid and very shy, like especially around people, and that gets mistaken for
standoffish.
not even just standoffish. It like people are like, oh, like she's too good, or like I'm like, you know, separating myself from, and it's not that. Like it's just like when I do, again, I know 100% I have social anxiety, but like if I didn't, I would still be, when I go out, like, I have a problem with looking people in their face, which is like, I try to work on that.
Same.
But that comes from me being timid and dealing with other personal shit. You know what I'm saying? And if you're dealing with other personal shit, that reflects of what you got going on outside of you. So, you know, I definitely feel like that could lead. It could just be you being shy and not being anxious. This is a good one. What, for anxiety, like, what would you classify as your trigger emotion?
Trigger emotion, like, so I would say, like, I get angry. Like, I don't. Is that a angry? Is
I mean,
emotion?
what emotion? Like, when I say like, what's your trigger emotion for anxiety? Like, what emotion like triggers your anxiety? Like, you being sad, you being worried, you being upset, you being angry, you being scared. Like, what emotion, if you had to pick, like, would you say like that's the cause for my anxiety?
Scared. I would
Fear.
probably have to put a fear. Probably is the first one that came to my head.
I mean, that's a good one. I wouldn't even have thought about that one. That's definitely a good one. I would say,
I mean, y'all both should say fear could work for both, because your social anxiety could be you fear of crowds or fear of being out somewhere.
I don't really, but I don't though. I don't like, I enjoy hustling, but that's the crazy part. Is like, I stay in Florida because I enjoy hustle and bustle. You know what I mean? When I go out, it's not the actual. I love to see people like having a good time, drinking, eating, enjoying
But from a
themselves.
distance.
But like, yeah, total like third party, like outside looking inside. Like, if I could just be like, if there was like a club, like a full club, and then they just had like a bench, like a little table and bench off to the side, I would totally be cool with that. I could get fucked up, I could enjoy my drinks, enjoy the music, and watch other people, and be like, yo, cause like that's what happens. If I go to a strip club, God forbid I get into a club somewhere, like, that's why I don't go out, because I have to VIP. Like, I'm not, and it's not because I'm too good, it's because, like, if you step on my shoes, I'm gonna fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have time for that. And then that on top of, like, social anxiety, on top of being in the crowd, on top of just probably being, like, under the influence, like, let's keep it real. Like, who wants to deal with that?
True. Do you feel like there's being under the influence helps, or kind of it would help your social anxiety or anxiety? Okay.
100%. So I did a poll on Instagram yesterday for this specific reason, and the poll was, the first slide was, do you suffer from anxiety? And out of the 15 people that answered the poll, 13 people said they suffered from anxiety. The next slide was, does cannabis help your anxiety? Or do you use cannabis to help your anxiety?
I mean, that was the purpose of it in the beginning.
I mean, yeah, but like, you know, some people use medication.
Yeah.
Like, for example, let me just pull this up. Bear with me. Fried again, guys. Fried. Alright, so here's a couple of answers. Like, somebody answered when I asked, how does cannabis help with your anxiety? Somebody answered, it helps to calm my nerves. So, like, medically, I haven't, like, you know, researched on, like, what aspect of cannabis, like, actually, like,
Helps with.
because that's the thing, you know what I'm saying? It definitely helps bring whatever level is probably, like, something adrenaline-wise. It probably, the chemical breakdown in it. And if anybody's listening to this and knows the answer, please comment down below. Because I would definitely be inclined to know what that is. But so somebody answered, it helps to calm my nerves. somebody answered, couldn't do it without it.
That's something like church.
Amen. Yeah. Won't he do it?
She was in church.
Now somebody says, that they well, I'll just like, we'll just like quote, air quote this one. They said they be fried for real. I forget about my problems. Now that's one thing I want to touch on, because that's the unhealthy part of, you know,
using cannabis to deal with
to
anxiety.
medicate your anxiety.
That's
for
true.
sure. Now, like, it's no judgment, because, like, I mean, I'm sure I smoke, you smoke, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you smoke, then, like, yes, it's gonna help calm you down. But again, that's the physical aspect of it. Like, you could get fried, and you might forget about that shit for a little while, you know, cook you some food, take you a nap, but when you wake up, that shit's still gonna be there.
Right.
So I definitely would not, you know, I feel like I'm an advocate for cannabis, so I definitely would not recommend, like,
Getting fried
using
to
it to, you know, go to sleep or, like, cause yourself intoxication so you don't have to think about that. That's not healthy.
Facts.
And you should talk to somebody about it.
ASAP.
Somebody answered, when I smoke, I don't be anxious no more. So I'm gonna just guess that that's like the medical, you know, like the medicinal side of cannabis. It's like lower and whatever. Listen, when I smoke, I mean, I can't say that. Sometimes when I smoke, I still be anxious. It'll like.
It's the strains. So for the other side of cannabis, it's not street. They done did the science on it, so they have certain strains that are for anxiety. Street side, you don't know that, you just know the name. So you're like, oh, I want this sounds fire, and then you get it, and it's the opposite of what you should be taking.
I mean, yeah, and that's when it breaks down to like indica, sativa, like hybrid. But I mean, I've smoked,
they break it
like,
down even more.
Maybe I need to get with that then to see like what's what, because like I've smoked some good ass grass in my day, and like I still deal with anxiety.
That's how people have that. People, you run the stories like, oh, I don't smoke weed. The first time I did it, and you hear the stories, you're like, oh, that's because they had something that wasn't meant. But they probably had anxiety, and they smoked something that made it even worse. Or something.
Or like they ate a whole Eddie,
and that wasn't for them.
Facts.
Yeah. So I mean, true that. Let's see what else.
Can you imagine having anxiety? First time you hit a sativa that was crazy.
That got you up, wilding.
Oh,
Yeah.
Man. And you by yourself or something?
Or like the people who be like, oh, they're already chill, and then they smoke like indica, and they be like, oh, I was stuck in the couch all day. Like, I mean, that's what happens when you take medicine. It does its thing.
Yeah, so I mean, these are definitely just like things to think about. Maybe like when you do feel like these certain emotions, and like guys, it is totally okay to like put names to like feelings, like emotions to feelings. It's perfectly okay to do that. Like male, female, like it like doesn't matter. Like if you're scared, like, it's okay to be scared. If you're, you know, nervous, it's okay to be nervous. Like, but I just feel like that's a better way to, like, address what's real, like, the bigger picture and what's really going on. What you feel like might be anxious really just may be, you know, A, B, or C, if that makes sense. As far as, what was that? So, like, question to you, Quis, like, when you smoke, like, what does cannabis, like, do for you?
Like a couple people had mentioned on your Instagram, it really do, for me personally, make me feel like I don't give a fuck no more. Like, it is what it is a better way to explain it. Like, I'm gonna deal with it anyways, so it kind of puts my mind into the perspective that you're tripping for no reason. It's happening, so you gonna either make something happen to fix it or get over it, or, you know, whatever it may be. It kind of makes me slow down. Like, I feel like slows me down a little bit in my head just so I can like realize what's going on. Like I don't be feeling like that shit is that serious no matter what it is. I hit that blunt and I'm like, yo.
I need to get to that point. I definitely need to get to that point. And I don't know if it's just because I'm like so passive aggressive as to where like I let so much stuff go. But it's like I do need to get to that. Even when it comes to like constructive criticism, you know, that's another thing that we are gonna have to like. Just being like small business owners, like everybody's not trying you, like you know what I mean. So like even when it comes to constructive criticism, like I forgot where I was going there.
I feel like it should be asked for though. If you don't ask me, I'm not gonna try to give it to you unless I think you really need it. You just come out and say something crazy sometimes.
I feel like it depends on it's a time and a place for that. Like, but there's definitely been times where like even females that I'm not friends with, like I may be acquaintances with, but like there's like, and not even just females, but like, you know, small business owners in general. Like I'm that person that if you have like something posted on a flyer and it's misspelled, I'm gonna hop in your inbox and be like, hey bro, like licenses doesn't have an S in it. You know what I mean? Like, well, I mean it does, but at the end, you feel me? But like, I'm definitely that person. Or if like I feel like you're cheating yourself, or I feel like you could do something better. If I can offer you guidance, hell yeah. But it's not what you say; it's how you say it. You know what I mean? But
I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum. I don't say shit because I don't know how somebody else is gonna react. Now, if I'm cool with somebody and it's like a time and a place for it, I could be like, yo, did you peep that this is like a little fucked up, or like did you mean to do that? But most of the time I don't want to anger nobody else. I think that's my biggest thing.
If it's just like a rando, I'm not just gonna hop in like some randos, but like I don't care. If you don't care, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? And clearly you don't care because you didn't even spell check that shit before you fucking PDF'd it.
There
so
you go.
if you even PDF'd it, like hopefully you didn't. No, but I feel that. I mean, there's sometimes like to mind your business, but I feel like, yo, if it's somebody I deal with or somebody that I know like has the potential to make some money and this could hold them back, then yeah, I'm gonna point that out. And I guess that's just because I would want some. But I mean, there's some people that can't take that. Like, there's some people that like you'll tell them, hey, like, you know, for example, you know, doing what I do. I'm big on presentation, so there's definitely been other bakers that I've seen like come along and I'm cool with them. And don't get me wrong, you gotta start somewhere. But like, I didn't have anybody to give me tips. Like I like had to figure the shit out myself. So I've definitely been like, hey, like in my head, I make homemade buttercream icing like all the fucking time. I can do it in my sleep. I also know what going to buy icing out the store and putting it in a piping bag, piping it on a fucking cupcake looks like. So if that's what you gotta do, I respect your hustle. But if I, you know, I've hopped in inboxes and been like, hey, add this to that, and it'll at least make it look like, you know, a lot better present. And like, it was not received well.
Gotcha.
So I'm just like, yo, okay, well, fuck you then. Keep putting that sloppy ass shit out that everybody's making fun of. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's petty patty, y'all. You feel me? Like, I really like real deal go in with good intentions, but like not everybody
receives it like that.
But like, I'm for that. If somebody sees or does something that I like attempt to put out, and they see something and they be like, oh, sis, your shit looks great, but like, and I mean, sometimes I'm not gonna be like, your shit looks great, because like, bro, if I'm contacting you, then your shit does not look great.
Some help.
But yeah, I mean, we probably got off topic with that, but what else?
This ain't a pinch with Patty. There is no topic.
I mean, if there is a topic, we're trying. Well, at least we're trying. All right, though, guys. But I mean, I think that's pretty much like. Pretty much a good, like, you know, take on anxiety. things that I've been looking into. I'm definitely trying to get this out there, guys. We want this to be like something that it reaches a lot of people, and a lot of people can, relate to what we have going on. We may be able to offer like knowledge or resources, like vice versa. Like if you're listening and you know answers to the things that we're talking about, or you feel like, hey, this resonates with me, or like maybe you disagree and you have something, like, we're open to listening to it.
Put it down in the comments.
Yes,
comments open.
And guys, like, share this podcast. Like, algorithm is life. So like, even if you don't, I'll tell you straight up, like, this is a great podcast to listen to in the morning on your way to work. It's a great podcast to listen to on your way home from work. Like, if you like me, like, I know you got your pen, or you done rolled up, you fired up going down 95. Like, we don't promote smoking and driving. Let's just say that. Like, we're putting that out in the open disclaimer. But like, pen's illegal, and I'm on that life. So, guys, it's a great podcast to just listen to for, like, again, everyday things. Moving forward, I'm definitely going to try to reach out and see what's going on with other small businesses, and maybe get some features on here with businesses that you guys know. So if you yourself have a business, if you know someone who is local to Broward, I mean, even outside of Broward, because like I said, we're bigger than Broward, but with respectfully, Broward County, respectfully. But yeah, if you'd be interested on doing a feature, like, email us, DM us, like, let us know. But yeah, that's about it, guys. Do you have anything to add?
Nah, nothing to say. Thank y'all for tuning in this week. We definitely appreciate it. We're growing by the day, and it's all thanks to y'all. So let's keep it happening.
Share, guys. We love you. And that's been In a Pinch with Patty featuring Quis.
Peace.